I ain't even gonna say gunshots with the B word because we got a lady here. And then there was bass. Good evening, motherfuckers and motherfuckers. This is your boy Uncle Dolomite from the Too Much Game Podcast. Live from the sanctuary once again. My rhythm is off like a motherfucker. I ain't gonna bullshit you. It's just not the same kind of show that I'm used to. I got guests, very, very special guests. So my rhythm fucked up. I'm like tripping because I got two celebrities in here with me. I got the richest podcaster of all times. I got a whole billionaire on the show. 12 Kyle in the building.
What's good? What's good?
Say something. Please say something, 12
What's
Kyle.
happening, Dolomite? Man, don't start that already, man. What's up, y'all?
Man, we got the billionaire 12 Kyle. And then we have the hardest working podcaster of all times. The lady with 13 podcasts. She got live streams. She got all kind of shit going on.
What's up?
Shan in the building.
What's up? It's Shan be potting. What's good?
Could you tell them all your podcasts that you own?
Okay, the rundown. We got Cozy Room Podcast. She Gets It Pod that has ended in June. Sad to see it go, but it's still up if you want to browse through. Loudmouth Stereo, which is ending this week. We have So What Page We On Bihh, which is an on-the-go book club. Creator, which starts in August. And then we have Wear It Right with Shan. And last but not least, the Real Relationship Rapport with Dungeon. So yeah, I'm busy.
Shan is everywhere and all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. Shan gets it cracking, man. You know, today's episode is called The Black Dollar. You know, because he's not here yet, I also want to have Mr. Brown Life Agent. You know, if y'all been listening for a long time, y'all know I had Mr. Brown Life Agent here, and he was breaking down how to leverage a cash value life insurance policy to, you know, make like investments, you know, to, you know, do some things to help your credit and all kind of shit like that. Like, you know, shout out Mr. Brown. I wish he was here. Hopefully he shows up. But today's episode, it's gonna be something along that same vein where, you know, we just talking about, you know, different things in finance and fiscal responsibility and it's crazy that I can't remember the word. What is it? Financial literacy. That's what I'm looking for. Financial literacy in the Black community. And y'all niggas know, as much as I know about it, I got two experts. They're both in the field. That's what they do for a living. That's how they make their money. Me, I'm a truck driver. I don't know, nigga. I just know what I know. But 12 Kyle's a billionaire. So of course, 12 Kyle know. And Shan, that's what she do for a living too, you know. So I brought them on to help me out with this. So first topic that I want to discuss, the misconceptions about poor spending habits of Black people, because they make it seem like Black people got the monopoly on fucked up spending. Like we the only ones that don't know how to spend our money. Like we spend our money on jewelry. We buy all the Mercedes Benz, you know,
Cadillacs,
expensive designer clothing, you know, expensive liquor, strip clubs, you know, all the other things that Black people are known to fuck money up on. But, you know, me personally, my belief is I think every race and culture has a way of fucking up money. We just the ones that got famous for
it. You are correct. I think we're the ones who, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like, I think every culture and ethnicity group does a level of embarrassing shit. But I think when it comes to Black people, it's just like, let's make sure we get this on video. Let's make sure we get a picture. Let's make sure we make a billboard, you know, for this problem that's going on here. Let's make sure we put them on it because it's their problem. When in reality, it affects everybody. When I see people's accounts, I'm seeing all ethnicities overbuy, overspend, and calling and make $5 on a $1,200 bill.
Mm.
And it's not always us. Most of the time, we're the last to know the um, back doors to get into if you don't have it all up front. A lot of why other ethnicities keep a lot of their money is because they don't pay how we pay. When we get a bill, we think, I got to pay it now. If I don't, they're going to take it off from me. They get a bill, they call, they beg, they ask for a supervisor.
Right.
They get sent to retention. Retention makes a deal with them where, okay, for the next 3 months, we won't report your credit to the credit bureaus and you just pay what you can. In reality, all the money that they need to pay is sitting in their account, but they don't want to pay it. So they get like easy, pat on the back ways of getting over while we're struggling to pay it all at once. So when you see them with their 5 cars in their driveway, their house, their boats, they're not paying their bill in full. It looks like they got it, but reality is a lot of other ethnicities are living on credit cards. Right. We're just at the point where no credit card wants to offer it to us because we have this assumption that we're not going to be able to pay it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like we're marketed to society as just bad spenders. Like, black people gonna fuck that money up. Yeah. Like, once they get a couple of dollars, that shit is it's in and out.
Yeah.
Right.
Once they touch it, they gonna spend it. They gonna find something to fuck it up on. Yeah. Like, black people spend money like it got an expiration date on it. Like, that shit gonna rot like milk. So they like, oh shit, I got some money. I gotta hurry up and throw that shit away. Right. But in reality, every culture does that shit. Like, I got a thing about the way people spend their money, because some people like, oh, I wish I had a shoe collection like you, or I wish I had this like you. And it's like, it's not that I got more shoe money than you. It's that I spend my money on shoes. You spend your money on weed. You spend your money on boats. You spend your shit on fishing.
Right.
But we all fucking it up.
I don't see how a consistent weed smoker always has to go see his dealer. Sir, it never clicked in your mind, maybe I should grow this shit that I smoke.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And then if you really think about it, how much money on a weekly basis are you spending on weed?
Yeah. That nigga Baylor said, pay Baylor. It's worth the investment.
What's up, Baylor?
What's up, Baylor? Yeah.
Baller Baylor, man. He's another billionaire.
I think
had him on.
You stupid. I think you both made some great points. I think it even goes back further into our history. If you go back to the 60s and 70s, the black dollar was very powerful because, for one, we didn't have a choice but to keep it within our community. We saw communities like the Wall Street community in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all across the country, New York City, Harlem, just to name a few, Los Angeles, cities where black people congregated and where we lived, and we kept our dollar in our community because we couldn't go outside of our community. So we had a church. If for me, I'm from a small town in Florence, South Carolina. So if there was a church, everybody went to that church. If there was a grocery store, everybody went to that grocery store. If there was a bank, everybody went to that bank. And, over the years, we were able to keep the money in one area. But as, time happened and segregation and everything, desegregation, and we started to ascend both economically, educationally, and financially, we ventured out and we got away from that sense of kind of keeping everything together for us. And, the results are, we're looking at 30, 40 plus years of where we are now and how we got to this point. But no, we're not the only ones to spend money. I mean, you guys know, we've all seen it. There are people who are walking around or driving in the biggest of Benzes and living in the biggest of houses, and they're literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. And they're literally living check to check, and they don't all look like us. Yeah. So it's not, we're not I tell people all the time, we're not a monolith, especially when it comes to finance.
Another thing I would say too that is a part of this misconception is I think Black people have to stop having a price. And when I say that, meaning if somebody comes to you and your house is passed down from your grandparents to your parents to
Yes.
you, stop having a price on what you would give it up for, because you're going to have three investors putting their heads together about how they can make that one house three apartments and use that money. And we always, I feel like, have a price on what we're going to give up. Or if they give me this, then I could do this. But how long is the amount of money that they're going to give you going to last you for what you need? Or is it going to put you in a greater predicament? Or are you going to be in a hole where now you got the money and they won't even give you the house? There was an actor, that actor from I can't remember his name, from Waiting to Exhale, the dark skinned guy.
Which
And
The
one?
all
huh?
the Allstate man.
No, not him. The thicker one.
Oh,
I can't
Lord.
remember his name, but he was saying how with his career and his money that he makes and him showing proof, how he couldn't even get his nephew in an apartment, even when he
Damn.
said he was going to pay
Oh,
up a full year.
Wendell Pierce. Wendell
Yes,
Pierce.
and
Yeah,
and
I
it's
saw
that,
that.
and is where a lot of people from other ethnicities don't want to see that it's not just about us not having the money or having the money. It's a level of discrimination where even if you had the money, even if you had three times the money, we don't want to see you able to have this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just messy on all levels.
Yeah. And it was something that 12 Kyle said earlier about like Black Wall Street and those things like that. Um, do y'all believe that um desegregation was a bad thing for the Black community?
Yes, I was just about to
Yeah,
ask y'all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny, man. I'm not sure. If you guys, your parents probably not as old as my parents, but I've had several conversations with my dad about that. And we still talk about that to this day. My dad is 77.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but he has a different perspective than my mom because my dad grew up in New Jersey. My mom grew up in the segregated South, so
Yeah.
she saw it firsthand. And I think we lost the sense of community and a sense of connection in that. While that wasn't the intent, but it
Mm-hmm.
just, in being able to ascend, we got away from so much stuff, and then it was like, okay, not only let's get away, but let's get away from Black folk, you
Right.
know. And so then you move into these bigger cities, and then you move into the city, and the cities are white flight. The white folks, fan out to the suburbs, and it happens. It's happened in every city.
Mm-hmm.
And now over the last 20, 30 years, let's just say last 20 years, there's been an influx of people moving back into the cities,
Mm-hmm.
and then now they're saying, okay, well, hey, we'll pay you this, we'll pay you pennies on the dollar for grandma's house, big mama's house. And we're selling big mama's house because they're coming to us with a proposal of $100,000,
Yeah.
but they're going to flip big mama's house and make it in some big condominium, and it's going to be a $10 million investment. And we've lost out on that money. That
Yeah.
little $100,000 is going to go away pretty quickly, wherein we could have been investing in our own or having our own type of partnership or building for ourselves. So it's been a domino effect, man. There's been some positive of it, but when you look at it from the grand scheme of things, I mean, in a lot of ways, it did hurt us.
Desegregation, I kind of compare it to like when your grandfather and your grandmother die off,
Yep.
right? And then the family doesn't meet up at that aunt's house for Sunday dinner no more. Everybody got their own island of doing stuff. And then you don't check in on such and such unless there's drama. You don't check in on such and such unless somebody died. You don't check in on such and such unless somebody had a baby. And then it goes long stretches without you even knowing you had a new cousin or a new this.
Right.
And within that, there's a lot of times when we need each other, and instead of us go to our family, we go outside of ourselves. And when we go outside of ourselves for help, alone, um, I want to get this car, you're spending money with another ethnicity, making them wealthier. When it could have been, oh, I got this car that's sitting in the garage. Your uncle doesn't use it. Come get it, And so a lot of times us not being able to build the way that we can is because we don't communicate. We don't want to work things out. We want to show people that we're akin to, watch me do it better than you, when it really should be that.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of us doing it together.
Okay.
Yeah. And even like when it comes to like the idea of selling Big Mama's house, because like I was telling my cousins, because we have a house like that in Compton, where right now my uncles live in it, but we pretty much use it for whenever somebody in the family is doing bad, we all go to grandma's house. Like, you down on your luck, go to grandma's house, because my grandparents, they passed away. So whoever's fucked up, you go sleep in grandma's room. Like, Big Mike and Carter live there. So we got 2 extra rooms in that motherfucker. So whoever fucked up, we got 2 rooms over there. Worst case scenario, your ass gonna be on the couch or something like that.
Right.
But like I tell them, if you're gonna sell grandma's house, make these motherfuckers make you a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Like if you gotta sell it, if you just so fucked up that there's nothing you can do, you need to sell that motherfucker for so much money, y'all buying 3 houses.
Yeah.
Because on some real shit, the reason that they want that house is because what they gonna do with it is gonna triple that motherfucking value. So make them motherfuckers earn it, because you don't want to sell something that's literally something that is considered to be generational wealth. Like, that is actual value. Ownership is valuable. Right. So please don't sell that motherfucker to buy a Benz, some jewelry, and have a hot girl summer. Because I've seen people do that. They'll sell their grandmama house, buy a Benz, a BMW, a cool little condo somewhere that they don't even own, and be like, well, shit, I don't know what happened to the money. You fucked it off. And then you go back over there, and like you said, it's a little 3-unit apartment complex now, a little 4-unit. And they doubling and tripling. That motherfucker done paid for itself on what they paid you for it. So if you're gonna do it, make them motherfuckers make you rich.
Yeah, you have to, because like home ownership is one of the fastest ways to generational wealth. That's not something that you're told. That's not something that you're taught, but that's what it is. And the quicker you can get to that point quickly as you move investments, but your house is the biggest investment that you'll ever have. It's the biggest debt that most of us will ever have. But in saying that, you want, at least you would think, I mean, we're all 3 of us are parents. We want to pass down something to our children. I don't want no parent, if you're a parent worth your weight in gold, you don't want your children to struggle like you did, or have some of the same, I don't want to say obstacles, but have to, avoid some of the same paths that you went down, because nobody knows what you did to get where you are. But in saying that, I think it's very important that we not only teach that, but we also live that as well. And really what's gonna happen in the best situation for the next generation is really made on what we do now. Like I'm older than these 2 right here. So I'm 51. And so like, even being 51, I look at my life where I've been, and I'm also looking forward, like, okay, how many more years do I want to work? How much more money do I need to make? And how can I set up my children to where they got to just sit on their ass? I mean, that would be great for them, but realistically, you want them to have something, and you want them to be able to maintain something and build. That's the thing I think that we haven't done as a community, probably in the last 30 years. It's been sporadic. We haven't had a consistent level of building our wealth. And there's many ways that there's not one or two ways that you have to do it. But, in the ways that we go about doing it, I think that the biggest thing, and Dolomite and I have talked about this before offline, one of the biggest things you can do is share information.
Yes.
If you don't talk, you don't know what the next person is doing. Here's the thing. There's no blessing for me that I'm going to be denied if I share information with Shan.
Right.
Because I can't get what Shan's going to get, and Shan can't get what I'm going to get. What's supposed to come to you is going to come to you. But if you don't share information, you have no way of knowing. You could have a multimillionaire or somebody with a multimillionaire idea sitting right next to you, or somebody that you're tweeting with every day on Twitter, and you don't know. And you don't know unless you ask.
Well, that's the next level of poorness, is your mindset, where you do have the keys to unlock an opportunity for the person sitting next to you that you know for years, but you refuse to share that information because you want to be the one to get it. You don't want them to get it. And that can put you in a hole too, staying around people that want to see you not get it. And when you do get it, they got all this negative stuff to say about why it should have been them and not you. And so this whole mindset that some people have about no new friends, if you don't have new friends, you don't elevate. That's like saying when I was 9, I want to keep the same shoes for the rest of my life. You're going to grow out of it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to grow out of it. And so you have to grow out of some of the people around you that are not growing. And then when you see someone growing on a path that you would like to take to be better for you and yours, you got to talk to them. And if they are willing to talk to you, that's food. That's something for you to eat. And a lot of people don't see it like that. And it's sad, but I also feel like in a world full of Wi-Fi, why don't you know?
Yeah. And like that goes into the next topic that I had wrote, which was the gap in financial literacy between Black Americans and everybody else. Because I feel like it's fucked up that in the information age, we still so far back on the information. Like as much shit as we share online, memes, news, you know, all types of shit. Like we know every single stat in sports. Like we know every lyric to every song, but a lot of us don't know how to repair our credit. A lot of us don't know how to fix. A lot of us don't know how to use credit in general. We don't know how to use credit cards. You know, a lot of people credit score is fucked up, and it's not that they don't have the money. It's just that they don't have the information on how to improve their credit score, like how to actually use credit. A lot of people don't have life insurance. A lot of people don't have medical insurance. Like, you know, I see a lot of people who was financially straight until they passed away, and then there was a fish fry for them. And it's like, why are we taking donations for grandma, and grandma had money?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, what happened? Like, how did that happen? Like, you know, even like all my homeboys in the street, I tell them all the time, like, nigga, get you a life insurance policy, homie. Like, we shouldn't have to take donations to bury you. Nigga, you drive a BMW, homie.
But that's another conversation too, is I see it all the time. You can't save and you can't invest when you're already in a negative.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the real, before we even get to the credit, before we even get to the life insurance, before we even get to setting up anything, is, are you living out your means now? Let's get you under living out your means, and then let's get you where you can put X, Y, and Z into a life insurance policy. Let's get you where you can, okay, you want those shoes? Cool. Go ahead and make that $130 payment on your credit card, even though they're asking for $50. Give them $130. The credit that's going to be on there, use that later to get those shoes that you want. You know what I'm saying? But we have this, and the social media has done a shit job of making it worse, where because they have all this stuff, I need all this stuff.
Right.
If I don't have all this stuff, I'm not doing shit with myself. And you can ask so many people. Let's focus on our people. How many people got all these shoes, all these cars, all these clothes, and no renter's insurance? You know how many times I gotta talk to my friends about, okay, you got a new laptop, you got new speakers, you did all these lights in your house, you did all of this, you got a new truck. Do you have renter's insurance? No, I'm gonna get it. You know how much renter's insurance costs on an apartment? Sometimes $10 a month.
Yeah, I think mine is like $12 or something like that.
Mine is 16. And if a tree falls on this hole, if it's water damage in here, I don't have to worry about where my kids gonna be. We in a hotel until they fix it. They paying for the stuff that was messed up. And so I think a lot of our issue is we don't prepare. And not preparing is that fish fry. Not preparing is let's get airbrush t-shirts and let's sell them for $10 to do X, Y, and Z. Not preparing is embarrassing. because that tells me that you lack accountability and responsibility. Not having a conversation with your parents because you don't want to talk about their death, where that's coming eventually one day, is being irresponsible. Out of all of my mother's 5 kids, and they're all older than me and they're all men, she talks to me about her life insurance. She talks to me about what she wants to happen when she dies. They don't want to have that conversation.
Well, that's a tough conversation to have, but you got to have it though. You
But
got to
why
have it.
I gotta have the balls to have the
Well,
conversation?
because it sounds like it sounds like you're the responsible one, Shan. Your brothers probably aren't
That's
responsible.
crazy.
But you made a great point. I think, and I just want to piggyback off of it. It's really about planning. And I mean, like, one of the things that my dad and I, we have these conversations. He would always tell me, particularly when I was in my by the time I got to like my 30s, he'd say, make your plan, work your plan. And that sounds simple, but it's just like, if you don't have a plan, you're literally in the game and you're just running around. I mean, like, you wouldn't go to a football game and just put on pads and just start running into people. There, you have to have a game plan as for what you want to do. And there's stages in life. And I mean, unfortunately, some of us aren't getting to those stages because, life is getting taken short, and everybody ain't dying from bullets. People are just, I mean, like, we're seeing friends, relatives die from cancer, from heart attacks, everything. So no day is promised. I think the biggest thing that you want to do, particularly those of us who are parents, is to set your kids up to where your kids can live in a world without you. As strange and as tough as that sounds, that's what we have to do. And so, Shannon, I think that's probably why your mom is having those conversations with you. But it's about planning. Yeah, you have to say, okay, well, hey, what do I want to do in 10 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? Where do I want to be financially in 10 years? Right. And then you start, like Dolomite said, as far as credit. I look at credit every day. If you have a if you have a credit card with a $10,000 limit and it's at you're at 9,900, you ain't never paying that credit card off. I'm gonna be honest with you, unless you just refinance something or you come into a loan or something like that. You're never, and it's while even though you're paying the $120 each month on time, that balance isn't going anywhere, and it's adversely affecting your credit every day, every single day. So you can't even really get ahead because, like Shan said, you're already in the negative. And I think, we have to have those conversations. I tell people all the time, like, the one conversation that I really wish that I had in depth with my mom when I was coming up was about credit cards or credit in general. She just said, hey, don't get no credit cards.
Right.
And the first time I got a chance at when I was in college to get a credit card, I got a credit card because they gave us a mug and a free t-shirt. And it was a $500 limit. I went and bought me a polo jacket. And I bought that polo jacket and I was fly. I was fly as hell. I wore that polo jacket 3 times. I spilled bleach on it and could never wear it again. And I moved out of the dorm, and so I didn't pay for it because I never got a bill. So I'm young. I'm thinking I ain't worried about it. $500. Well, guess what? Now it's a negative action on my credit report. Right. And when I go to buy this house that I bought, guess what pops up on my credit? Right. That credit card.
The polo jacket.
Yeah. Oh man, it was sweet too, Dolomite. It was blue. It was so cold, man. But I wore it 3 times. But that's how we get kind of trapped in. My mom only said, she just said, stay away from them. She never told me how or why. And I learned the hard way.
And one of the things is, like, your parents can't teach you what they didn't know.
Facts.
Because like that's one of the things too. It's like a lot of us is like, oh man, I wish my parents would have taught me. And it's like they didn't even know. Like some of our parents don't even know about even ownership. Like just something as simple as the importance of owning a home. Like some people, your parents couldn't teach you what they didn't know. Like they only knew but so much, so they can only give you what they had to give. And like I say about us as parents in the information age, like it's our job to learn those lessons so we can teach our kids, so they can know what we didn't know. Like like I always say about what Too Much Game podcast is as a show. This is me giving the game that I wish somebody would have gave me when I was 17 years old. Like I wish I had somebody to pull me to the side and give me some of the shit that I just be on here running my damn mouth about. Like, I did have like OGs in my neighborhood. Like I had some niggas to, lace my boots on certain shit, but their shit, they just didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, like even when it comes to the guests that I have on here, like I don't have guests often, and the reason I tell people is because if you don't have nothing to offer my audience that's valuable, the fuck you coming on for?
Right.
Like,
Right.
oh man,
They want to chit chat.
I be talking shit, man. I'm hilarious. Oh nigga, I'm funny. I don't give a fuck. Like, this ain't
Right.
that type of show. This ain't no comedy
Right.
show.
Too much
Nigga.
game.
Yeah. So it's like if you don't have nothing to actually offer, where I feel like if I was 17, I would have liked to have this conversation. Nigga, no, don't even ask. Like, nigga, we can go live on Instagram and just bullshit off on there if you just want to bullshit with me. But like I said, I had Mr. Brown on here a long ass time ago to talk about leveraging a life insurance policy, because that was some shit I ain't know nothing about. Like, nigga, I spent that whole episode just sitting there quiet. Like, oh, that's what you do. Okay, nigga.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's the information agent. I mean, really, we're at a stage now where there's so much information and everything is in the palm of our hand. There's nothing that we can't get. I mean, like, I came up in an era where you had to have, it was a luxury to have a set of encyclopedias in your house.
My mom had that.
Oh, y'all was balling. So, I mean, to have that, and now we have everything at our fingertips. So it's important that we tell people how important this stuff is, because it sets you up for the next level, whatever the next level may be. Everybody's not going to be a millionaire. Everybody's not meant to be a millionaire, and everybody doesn't want to be a millionaire. But the thing you should want to all be is comfortable and making good, sound business decisions for yourself and your family, because ultimately that's what's going to either help or hinder the ones that come behind you. Because guess what? There are some that are coming behind you. And I think one of the things that we don't really understand is everybody's watching. Even when you don't think nobody's watching, everybody's watching. We have kids. Our kids are watching us. We have friends. Our friends are watching us. We have family members. Our family. I mean, I'm sure you two have probably had this before, where you have a family member say something as if they assume that you got a whole lot more money than you do have.
Yeah.
And they be like, "Oh, Dolomite, you got it. What you worrying about it for?
Right,
You ain't got it.
Right.
You don't know what I got to pay. You don't know how many. You don't know what I have to pay for."
I always say that. Like, I wish I had the money that my family think I got.
I say that about my kids. It's hard. They're getting older, so it's harder to keep like what I got going on to myself, where they don't hear shit. But I have real conversations with them. Yeah, they probably 7 and 10, but I tell them how credit cards work. I tell them that they don't want you to ever pay this off. I tell them, yes, I could use my credit card, but I don't want to use my credit card. I could wait to buy this thing. I tell them, yeah, y'all do have an account. Well, let me see what money in it. That's none of your business. and that was like a mystery to me growing up. Even my dad, today's his 101st birthday.
Oh, wow.
A lot of
happy birthday, OG.
Right. I wish I could have the conversations that I want now with him, but I can't. But even how he just moved about, this man got up every day at 6 a.m., wore a suit every day. I've never seen my dad in a t-shirt only. I've never seen my dad in sweatpants. I've never seen my dad put on sneakers. All of his shoes were polished. He had file cabinets of all his paperwork. He counted his money at his table. He cleaned his gun at his table. If he wasn't going to his barbershop that he owned, where he hired his friends, he was going to go check on his properties. That man was very much about his business. Are there cons of that? Yeah, because when people make a lot of money, they think they could bet on a lot of money. So he's like, gamble. But my dad was never in a predicament where he calling his friend for money because he in a hole. You know what I'm saying? And I also saw my dad not have a lot of friends. And so now that I'm in my mid-30s, I like having a small group of people, because when you have a big group of people that feel like they can have connections to you, you get distracted from your goal. And a lot of having money requires having discipline. A lot of people are not self-disciplined in their body. A lot of people are not self-disciplined in how they spend money. A lot of people are not self-disciplined enough to be like, you know what? I'm not going to go out all year. I'm not going to drink all year. Put this money to the side so I can do this down payment on this house. And what's sad is I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm just like, who is going to buy these homes after these old people die? Because my generation barely can afford the taxes on some of these houses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the sucky thing about buying a house in the US is even if you buy it and you pay it off, when them taxes get higher, do you have money coming in retirement wise to pay for them taxes? And that's what usually gets a lot of older people up out their homes is that continuous money is not coming in anymore, even though you paid off that house. And so ownership is not even ownership in the United States, unfortunately. So I really have to ask myself, what is it vision wise that I really want? Do I really want multiple houses and not be able to pay those taxes? Do I want tenants and have to go up behind people and make sure they're taking care of my shit? Because I love watching TikTok and seeing the backlash of that.
Right.
And it's really, can you afford the checks you writing? And that's not even like literal. Like, if you want your child to go to private school, can you afford the kids that's around your child to influence your child to do some dumb shit?
That's a good point.
You know, if you take your children out of a community of people that look like them and put them in a community of people who hate them, accuse them, belittle them, that's an emotional abuse. Just because you feel like, oh, I'm making this, I need to live here, I deserve it. What do your kids deserve? You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. You really have to be comfortable doing the thing you want to do. You have to be comfortable saying no to people that you care about. You have to be comfortable having your boundaries. And whoever wants to learn, share it. If somebody doesn't want to learn, don't beat them over the head with it, because everybody can't come. Somebody got to be the owner. Somebody got to be the employee. Somebody got to be the person that comes in and does the service. We really should be talking about what we could tell our people and our kids on how they can make their own money. You don't want to clock in somewhere, here's a trade.
Right.
You want to learn something with computers, do this course here, because a lot of people doing this course. And sometimes they can go outside and play, but sometimes you got to be like, hey, tomorrow you doing this book work.
Right.
Well, I ain't got homework. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. You have to want to. And a lot of people don't have that want to, which is why mindset wise, they're broke, which is why financially they don't get it. And we live in a world where people are not coming to you to make you. You either want to go to the person that knows, or you just don't know.
Yeah. That is an excellent point. I think, we live in they call it information society, but also some of the information that is being given, you have to question. And then you have to, as you're getting information and you're watching people around you, even your family and your friends, you have to make sure that you stay focused on what it is that you're trying to do. Yeah. One of the things I tell my kids, particularly the oldest too, because they're in college, is, when I was growing up, I used to watch horse racing a lot. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they did in horse racing, at least the horse races that I saw, was you see the blinders on the side of the horse's eyes, because the eyes of a horse on the
side. That's how you know 12 Kyle rich, because what nigga watch horse racing beside rich people?
Hey man, listen, racing used to come on back in the early 80s, bro. That was on TV.
I remember. I used to watch it too. Coming around the side, we have fat ass pussy coming around the left side.
So to make the point, like, the thing I tell them is focus. Focus is the hardest, particularly when everything around you is pulling at your attention. I have times, we all have problems sometimes focusing. Mm-hmm. I can sit down and do a podcast, and I literally have to turn my phone off to do a podcast, because if not, I'll get a text or a tweet, and next thing I know, I look up and a half hour's gone, I hadn't recorded anything. Mm-hmm. The thing I tell my sons is like, be that horse with the blinders on. You have to run your race. Yeah. And as you're running your race, you can't worry about everybody in the other lanes. That's something that's very hard to do. We as a people haven't really been conditioned to do that. Mm-hmm. Because in the 60s and 70s, and that's about as far back as I can go, because, just the stories that I've heard as far as from my parents, we had a more sense of community. So everybody was kind of connected. So you saw everybody come up, and there was a sense of pride that, oh man, do you know Uncle Larry got a Cadillac? Oh, Uncle Larry he moved into this house, whatever, like that type of thing. And it was kind of celebrated. Now it's like, because of the advent of technology, we have social media. I can show you my wealth. I can show, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But the thing I try to explain to them is like, you can't spend nobody else's money. So I don't care how much your favorite rapper makes. I don't care how much your favorite singer makes. I don't care how much your favorite athlete makes. You can't spend a dime of their money. What you can do is you can develop a plan for yourself, for your life, for the next year, for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. And if you do that and you stay focused, I'm not saying you can't spend money, but the thing is, like, don't go buy a car or don't go finance a car at 25 if you have plans on buying a house. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? That car note is going to negatively take away from the amount of house that you can qualify. Mm. Point number 2, if you're looking to buy a house and you can afford a $500,000 house, don't buy a $500,000 house. If let's just say $500,000 is the max that you can afford, don't go all the way up to that point, because guess what? When you buy a house, shit happens. Mm-hmm. Your washer and dryer is going to go out. Maybe your AC unit is going to go out. All of that stuff happens. It's a part of life, I guess.
But that's the thing right there too. Let me just put on that.
Right.
Keep going. Nobody told me the price of a refrigerator.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what is this? But that's a part of that house shit. Like, if a bank told me here's 500, we could do 500. I'm looking for something that's 75K to 120.
Yeah.
Because I know I got other things. You know how long it takes to furnish a house?
Yeah.
And like one of the main important things on credit, like, you know, sorry to go back to that, is the most important thing with credit is your available credit.
Yes.
Like the available monies that you have available in your credit. So if you got a credit card and the limit is X, nigga, you need that X to be a big ass number. Like, you shouldn't have your maxed out credit card. If you got a $10,000 credit limit, you should have at least 7 of that shit available.
At least.
Like, if you got a $10,000 limit, nigga, try to keep it under 3.
Yeah, the magic number is 30%. 30% of your 30% should be available. I mean, that should be your cutoff. So, like Dolomite said, if it's 10,000, that your max should be 3,000. You shouldn't be over 3,000, because after that, it adversely affects your credit. And again, that's not something that people tell you, but you know, you're gonna need credit. Cash is great, but at some point you're gonna have to finance some things. And you know, when it comes to financing, lenders are nowadays, it's even more stringent now, especially when it comes to houses, because you know, now interest rates are higher. There's supposed to be some information coming down in the next week or so about whether or not the Feds are going to cut the rates. I don't think they're going to cut that much, but right now, financially, this country, the people in this country, all of us, we are being squeezed and pulled in 2 different directions financially, when it comes to interest rates, when it comes to credit, when it comes to all of that stuff, and our dollars are being stretched. Dolomite lives in a place where gas is probably $6 out there.
It's 5 and some change.
Man, listen, if gas ever got to $5 in Atlanta, I'm stealing gas. I ain't gonna
I
can't do it.
$3.40. You pushing it?
Yeah, Dolomite. I literally was complaining the other day because I bought gas at $3.65, and later that day I saw the price go from $3.65 to $4.09. I was like, damn, are we in a war or something that nobody told me about? But it's a part of how the economy works. And, you know, it's not right. But I mean, like, when we come towards holidays, you know, like the Memorial Day and the 4th of July, you see those gas prices just inch up. Everybody's making money except us. And I think what we have to do is, you know, do what we can to make the most of our money and save and prepare for, you know, I hate to say prepare for a rainy day, but prepare for those of us who are, you know, even if you don't have kids, you know, prepare for, you know, I don't want to say a disaster, but a rough time, because financially you're all going to hit a rough patch at some point.
Yeah, and sidebar, King Germ, you could buy a house with cash money because you rich. But the rest of us got to finance our damn house.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, like you can. It's possible, but who's got 80? You know what? I think a cheap house in California is $300,000.
Yeah, man.
And that's like a little house in Bakersfield or Palmdale, Lancaster, or some shit. Like,
Man, I was
niggas ain't running around with 400 racks.
I was looking, and I was just looking just to be nosy at some houses out there, man. I don't see how y'all do it. And but it goes back to what Shan said, the taxes. So even if you pay, I would assume if you buy a $2 million house, that you probably can afford a $2 million house. But even if you pay for it in cash, the taxes alone, you literally would have to take portions of your check to put it to the side just to take care of the taxes at the end of the year.
When I gotta go to work, I like to take the scenic route. And I post sometimes the houses I pass.
Mm-hmm.
Those houses are not even in people's names. They're in trust funds.
Yes.
Okay. So that already tells you right there that this is crazy money. I tell them tax-wise, they probably buying a house per year in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not at a point in your life where you can afford to do that and have more money coming in, you don't want to live here.
Right.
You might want to get a house 30 minutes out of Atlanta going south, and what's so crazy is what 12th I was saying earlier is a lot of people are moving back into the city.
Yeah.
And when a lot of people move back into the city, they make sure the people who are in the city can't afford the city anymore. So it's like a trade-off. It's like a flip. Me personally, the way my patience is set up, I like living outside of the city. I like having an option to go into the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that, kids can go outside and be kids and I don't have to second guess it.
Right.
But for single people, I understand why you want to be in the mix. Can you afford to be in the mix? And the people around you, do they expect you to be in the mix every week, every night? And it's so sacrifices and that self-discipline again to say, okay, financially I could, but do I have to?
Right.
Do I need to? Should I just go to work and do this double real quick and put this extra money to the side? And it's those type of decisions that are going to keep you growing past the person who you think got it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't want to take that step back and be out the mix.
You have to make a financial assessment of where you are and where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, we all should probably do that every year, at least once or twice. Write down your bills. Okay, well, hey, what do I want to pay off this year? And maybe maybe there's nothing that I can pay off this year, but maybe I could put a dent into something this year. I'm not saying that, and I don't want anybody to take from this conversation like I think you should just, pool all your money and then not have any fun. Enjoy your money. We all work for our money. Mm-hmm. So you should enjoy the fruits of your labor. That being said, be smart about it. I tell my wife all the time, like, let's be practical about what we spend our money on. And what I mean by that is, can you tangibly touch what it is where you invested your money at? So Chan, you mentioned like furnishing the house. Mm-hmm. I got an old couch, been sitting on the couch, and I would like a new couch. Mm-hmm. Now I could easily go finance a couch. I don't want to finance a couch for what? Right. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So why don't I just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this money aside and I'll just buy a couch.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is I probably can't go out to eat, with my homies. Probably can't go. You might have to cut out a couple of weekends of hanging with the fellas and drinking or going, me and my wife going out or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. That's the sacrifice. And what I'm saying is just make small sacrifices like that. But also the importance is just being financially making plans about what it is that you want to do. I think a lot of times, some of us, not all of us, we get money and we don't know what to do with the money, and it burns a hole in our pockets. I have a teenage son now. I was telling him, I was like, he just started working. I was like, dude, and I'm looking at his bank statement because I got access to it. Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't spend $100 in a day. Mm. You ain't got you don't have a real job. You got a part-time job. You work hard for your money. You can't spend $100 in a day. Mm-hmm. I can. But I choose not to. But and then that's a part of, like I said, kind of teaching your kids fiscal responsibility. And I think we have to do a better job of that. And then also as a community, because our money, our dollars. I know that's the topic of this podcast. The black dollar comes and it goes right back out of our neighborhoods, and we have to be conscious about that. And that's something I've tried to do. And I'll be honest, I've tried to do more of it since listening to Dolomite's podcast. But sometimes we can be frustrated with our black businesses, but we have to let our voices be heard too, and not just run to social media.
Exactly, because my thing is always, like I say on the show, like if you got a problem with a black business, go to the owner.
Yeah.
Don't go to Yelp. Don't go to Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Like, talk to the person that needs the help, because bashing them on social media is just gonna have one less black restaurant in your town, one less black business, one less black tire changer or whatever the hell. Like, okay, nigga, the service is fucked up. Go talk to them about that shit. Hey man, your server, motherfucker just tossed a pancake. The shit landed in my lap. Tell them that. Don't jump on social media, because you probably gonna be the first motherfucker complaining like, there's no black businesses supporting my town. I don't know what happened. Bitch, you happened. Like you did it. You wanted to be Keith Lee to the negative. Cause shout out Keith Lee, man. That's family. But as far as like, us as black people, and to segue into our next topic, the purposeful miseducation of black people when it comes to finance. Because I believe that we purposely miseducated, like especially in, like my feelings about hip hop. A lot of what they push to us in our music is, hey man, go spend all your money on jewelry.
Right.
Spend all your money on this. You gotta have this. You ain't shit if you ain't got these kind of shoes. Oh, you ain't got this kind of clothes. You don't wear these labels. You don't have this. You ain't shit if you ain't got this. So it's a lot of people that's like, man, I could have bought a house, but shit, I wanted to buy this Benz. I could have had this, but how could I not have a Hellcat?
Yeah.
This little niggas running around this motherfucker 19, 20 years old with a fucking Hellcat that they paying for.
Right.
Like, the note, when I
hear and I see it all the time, I'm just like, they no way I would be on anything paying $800 on a vehicle. There's no way.
Yeah, because I know niggas with a $1,300-$1,400 car note.
That's like a house note.
Nigga, that was my rent when I was like 25.
Yeah, so that's like, crazy.
But again, it's like we're taught that this is what you need. Like you gotta have these things. Like, nigga, you ain't living if you ain't got one of these. Yeah. So it's like, nigga, we gotta push, like, nigga, there's a bigger picture. There's bigger, better, more important things to focus on in your life. Like, I don't want to be Dave Ramsey neither. Because like 12 Cal said, like, we're not saying don't have fun, but at the same time, like, nigga, have your fun, but within reason. Like, have your fun, but have your important shit taken care of too.
Yeah.
Because like, a joke me and my cousin used to always have is like, yeah, your rims on your car is better than mine, but I sleep on my couch.
Right.
Can you go in your living room and get butt ass naked? Yeah. I can. Can you?
Right.
You living in your mama shit. So yeah, nice rims, nice shoes. I like those Balenciagas.
Yeah.
But I got my own shit, brother.
Yeah.
Just like as of recent, when I bought my house, I'm like, can't nobody tell me shit.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, I have a home that belongs to me. My name on that. You don't. Shut the fuck up. Watch your mouth, my nigga. Like, lower your voice in this conversation. And like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of us wasn't taught the importance of ownership. Like, nigga, I didn't know until I was like, shit, probably in my 30s before I realized that, damn, I think I need to own a home. Like, nigga, rent ain't doing good, nothing but skyrocketing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, it is.
Like, nigga, rent ain't never going down. Like, nigga, your mortgage, if you doing the right things,
it's gonna stay. That's that constant bill.
You could at least keep it somewhere manageable if you know how to refinance at the right times, when the interest rates are low, or you having a financial hardship and you real advanced in it, you could refinance and well, shit, now we got 30 more years to pay it, but at least my house note is $800 instead of $1,800.
Right.
You know, we done paid it down. We done some things. You know, you might be able to pull some money, pull some equity out of your house to make an investment. You might be able to buy a whole investment property just off the equity in your house. I've seen people do it.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
no
like,
doubt.
you know, we as Black people, it's a whole lot of shit that we just flat out wasn't taught, don't know.
Yeah.
And they do that shit on purpose. Because as much as we're in the
course.
information age, ain't no teachers looking to pull their little Black student to the side and say, hey, little homie, this is what you're supposed to do.
No, not at all. And I think part of it is too is that we as a people got to at least some of us, I can't say all of us, got to a point where we got the information or we got the game and we didn't pass it on to the next person for fear that, you know, we was going to lose something or somebody else is going to get something on top of us. And, you know, priority is a key thing. You gotta know what it is that you want to do and what you see value in. And I'm all about sharing information because, like I tell people all the time, if you are buying a house, if you're refinancing a house, and you got any questions, call me or email me or DM me, whatever the case may be, because like I can answer questions. I can't hook you up, but that's the biggest investment. And it's scary because like there's nothing to prepare you for. Like I could tell you all day about what's going to happen, what the home buying process was like. Me and Baylor, I kind of walked Baylor through some stuff that he was going through when he was purchasing his gazillion-dollar mansion.
His mansion.
And you know, but it felt good for me to do that for him because like that's a scary proposition and you don't know. And here's the thing, the people on the other side of the desk, they know. That's the scary thing. When the other people know and you don't know, you're thinking, okay, well, you know, what are these fees? What does this mean? Do I need to get a home inspection? What happens if I sell, you know, in 5 years? Will I have the value back? You know, all of these type of questions come across people's minds, but they're not really thinking about it because, you know, sometimes we're afraid to ask. And, you know, the worst question is the question that you don't ask. And so like, I'm all about giving people information. And, you know, that's part of the reason for this particular episode of this podcast. You know, but I think we have to have an idea as to what it is we want. Cause, you know, like I said, everybody's not going to own a house. Everybody's not going to get married. Everybody's not going to have kids. Everybody's going to run their own race, but having priority and knowing what it is that you want to do financially. If you're 30 years old and you don't know what you want to do financially, now you don't necessarily have to know what job you're going to have, but if you don't know what you want to do financially, by the time you're 40, it's a problem because now you have to go back. So it may involve you having to go back to school. It may involve you going back to get a trade. It may involve you going back and starting all over. So it's really about planning. And I think more than anything else, we got to do a better job of sharing information and then asking questions. And the more and more you ask questions, you'll realize who wants to share information and who doesn't.
Yeah. And stay away from motherfuckers who don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know, one of my things that I'm big on preaching, like, you know, because as far as like big homies, like I say all the time, like if you listen to my show and you know, a part of, you know, who my group of little homies that listen to this shit, like I always say, like, man, if a dude ain't giving you no game that's gonna help you financially, help you move forward as a person, stay the fuck away from them.
Yeah.
Any of your friends that's always telling you they job not hiring, leave them motherfuckers alone. Like, you know, the type of people that tell you, oh man, they only hire Mexicans up here, man. They don't even hire brothers up here. How your Black ass get there?
Right.
You know, because like you was talking about earlier, Shan, like some people like to be the one magical Negro. Like they like to be the one nigga in their neighborhood that got 2 cents over lunch money. Like, I don't want nobody nowhere near what I do financially. So I'm not telling you niggas nothing. I don't want to see y'all with me at the airport. I want to come back and brag to y'all niggas about the airport. I want to come back and brag about what I'm doing. But I ain't gonna give y'all no info. If y'all around those type of people, man, get away from them motherfuckers.
And another thing with that is don't be afraid to get information from an ethnicity that is not like yours. Outside ethnicities love to brag about how they got into what they're into, what I need to do. Do you have this account? On top of your 401k, make sure you get this account. And when you get this account, put this much in. And then when it gets here, put that. You know how long I've been on a call that led to something else? And it's not about what my job is with somebody who's 30 years older than me. And I value those calls. I value that information. I make notes. I'm always writing down something, you know what I'm saying? And I take the time and I go research that later. Could I be scrolling Instagram? Yes. Could I be buying online? Yes. Could I be on Amazon looking like I do when I open my refrigerator? What can I buy?
Right.
Yes. But you have to also take that time and go Google some shit you didn't know. Like a lot of people who have their personal businesses, did you know that you have to report any beneficiaries of your business this year, or you're going to get fined if you don't do it before this year's out? That's something they added. And if you're not paying attention to your business and what's needed on top of your keeping your business and paying that yearly fee, you're going to have a fee at the end of the year. And so when I do my business stuff, I'm texting friends that I know got their own business. Did you do this yet? If you didn't do this, here it is. And I say that because the knowledge you don't have will cost you.
It will.
Literally. So there's always going to be a company that's going to email you, hey, do you need us to go ahead and file this for you? It's only going to be this much money. If you do it and you Google it yourself, it's free. You don't have to pay nothing. But if you don't know, and somebody comes to you with something, you're gonna think you're gonna have to dish out that money. And so I tell my brothers what they need to do. I tell them when they need to report stuff. Do I have to? No. But what is it gonna benefit me to have this knowledge and watch somebody fail that I care about?
Right.
Yeah, and
I feel the same way.
like, yeah, because like to the point that Shannon made earlier in her statement with not being afraid to get information from people who don't look like you. Have y'all ever read the book or seen the movie The Spook Who Sat by the Door?
Yeah.
Years ago, yeah.
You know, like that's the mindset that I have. Like I'll learn from anybody to teach my people. Like you ain't gotta look like me for me to learn from you. Like if you got something that I could use, I'm definitely gonna take it. But I'm gonna take all that information and I'm gonna relay it to my people. Like that's always been my mindset. Like I would tell motherfuckers, like it's up to you to teach everybody who you have influence over. Like you
That's
can't
right.
be so mad at what you don't know or what you didn't know. All you should be doing is doing the best that you can to share the information that you have with the people behind you so they can move forward.
Right.
You know, like I tell my cousins and my little brother and all that all the time, like nigga, in the competition that we have as family, being that y'all younger than me, I hope you beating me.
Right. Right.
You not beating
Right.
me, I'm doing a bad job. Like,
Right.
you know, same with your children. Like, you shouldn't be competing with your children because if you beating your children, you're doing a bad job at parenting.
Right.
You know, and that's us as black people in general. Like, nigga, I want to see everybody do better, my nigga. Like, I don't have this like, oh, I hope he fails so I can succeed. Like, especially if it's somebody who I got contact with and somebody who I know, because I much rather all the niggas around me be doing better. So hopefully they can help me do better. And if not, they could at least inspire me to do better. Like, nigga, you gonna make me better by watching you do better. Nigga, you got something I ain't got. So I'm just gonna work that much harder to get it, even if you don't help me get it. But like I just be happy to be able to say, I'm the nigga that said the right thing to that nigga to help him get that. So even if it don't help me, okay, nigga, I guess I got work to do then. Cause I told that nigga that and he went ahead of me. That nigga, that mean I missed a piece. Nigga, now I gotta go do something with the information that I gave him. Cause damn, how I told him that and he did that. You know, and that's the mindset. Like it's too many niggas that's out here like trying to hoard the information because they don't want to see nobody leapfrog them, and it's fucking us all up. You know, it's like those animals in a barrel that, you know, y'all know what I'm saying, but I don't use that word.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is if you can get to a door and you can open a door, the objective is to leave the door open. You know, it ain't to close it behind you, because understand that somebody had to do something to get you wherever you are. None of us get where we are. And I always think, like, just in myself, like, I'm still not where I'm going to go. And I'm okay with that because it's a constant. You know, you should want to keep progressing. You should want your kids to progress. You should want the people around you to progress. That's where we were as a community. And I think we have to get back to that in order for us as a community, as a people, to succeed going forward. will we see simulations of that in our lifetime? I hope so. You would think that with all of the shit that happened in the 60s, in the 50s, and the 70s, that we'd be a lot more closer when you consider that a lot of the stuff that we see nowadays is very similar, or in a lot of ways worse. And you see a bunch of individualistic acts. And we all should be trying to strive individually, but we should also make sure that any doors we open, we leave that joint open for the next person to come through or pull somebody.
Yeah,
but some people they make information feel like bubble gum. Don't tell nobody you got it from me.
Come on.
Why?
Yeah.
And when you think about the young people, we screwed up young people so much that they don't even feel like it's worth them going to get a job at a grocery store no more. All the carts is in the parking lot. They don't want to work for hourly wages no more. They rather steal your car, go take it to whoever they got to take it to, and make 800 in a couple of hours. And that's what we're creating. And so when we're creating those young people, when we get to old age, especially the ones that brag about, oh, I don't have no kids, I don't want no kids, I'm doing life for me, I hope your retirement will take care of you. Because if you end up needing a nursing home, they already predicted it's not enough beds for us. So where are you going? Who's taking care of you?
And you won't survive on Social Security, that's for sure.
You're not getting Social Security,
Oh no, it ain't gonna be around by the time I retire. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You can do all this stuff to be rich and look rich, but you don't have no time frame on when the Lord's gonna be like, you done.
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine other people still working on it and not getting there.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the point that you was making about like working at the supermarket. When Nipsey say the marathon continues, like a lot of people, it just sounds so cool. They don't even look into the reality of what he was saying, because if you watch a marathon runner, you don't see a marathon runner take the fuck off sprinting.
Right.
They
everything's calculated.
They are running slow from the beginning to the end. They got the same slow little pace. So it's like, nigga, when I'm 19, I don't need a Hellcat.
Right.
I just need to start, laying down those financial building blocks to the point where by the time I'm of age, I'll have all that shit. But right now, I just need to make enough money to feed myself. I just need enough money to be able to say, okay, look, I'm gonna start investing $5 a week because that's all I can afford right now. I got this little five extra dollars at the end of the week. I'm gonna put that into a Roth IRA. Because like that's a whole nother thing. Like a lot of us don't even know about Roth IRAs. A lot of us don't even know how to leverage a 401k. I ain't learned that until this year.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, I probably got about $100,000 in my 401k right now.
That's good.
And the thing is, I didn't realize I could borrow 15, 20,000 out the motherfucker to, make an investment, pay off some debt, knock down my credit cards, pay off school loans and shit. Like, I didn't realize that I had money already that I had access to.
That money is built in. And that, that not to cut you off, that actually speaks to a point I want to make. A white coworker told me many years ago. He said, man, I'm gonna tell you something. He gave me a little bit of game. He said, white folks borrow money to pay for stuff. He said they don't pay for stuff. He said they will go without before they use their own money. So they would have the money in the bank, but no, let me go get a loan to pay for this, because guess what? If I default on a loan, I defaulted on a loan. It ain't come out of my pocket. Right. So if I take that 401k and I use it to buy a boat, or if I use it to invest in this, or I even use it to invest in this business, guess what? If the business fails, I still have my solid foundation of money. And so that was some game that I hadn't really thought about, because I was like, well, why is this? Because I was looking at this guy's credit profile, and the guy who's white, he had, he pulled up in a big body Benz to our office, and I was like a loan officer at the time. And I was trying to figure out, like, why is this dude in here to borrow $3,000? He made like $150,000 a year. And he had a policy. I mean, he had a relative pass away, and they were willing him some money. So the will basically said he would be getting $200,000 in 90 days. Well, he needed $3,000 at time over. Now, why he needed $3,000, I didn't understand. He needed $3,000 because he was living check to check. So despite the big house, despite the car, and his credit was jacked up, he was maxed out and everything. but that's what they do. They use their own money. They don't use their own money. They borrow the money.
Even Warren Buffett said that.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't use my
No,
money.
they don't. He didn't use his money when he did what he did to get where he got.
Mhm.
And, you know, hopefully generationally, we be able to pass this along to our children. Again, everybody doesn't have to be a millionaire. What I want us to do is be comfortable with our money, the money that we make, enjoy the money that you make, but also, prepare and be ready for whatever comes, your way on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Just being an asset to your people. Let's get there. Let's get there to where before you go ask a stranger, you ask me. You ask this person. If I ain't got it, let's get such and such on the phone to see if they got it. And this whole idea that it's this race against everybody. It's not a race against everybody. Because let me tell you, the older I get, ain't nobody looking at you.
People think other people care a whole lot more than they think they do. Ain't nobody paying attention to you. No. Not as many people as you think. Just because you got 500 likes on your Instagram page, that doesn't mean anything.
An illusion.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Like, man, you don't know how many times you done tripped and busted your ass and did nobody care.
No. And nobody saw it.
Because like you won a trophy, did nobody give a shit?
Nope.
Like it didn't happen on TV. You don't play for the Lakers. Like you went and bought this expensive ass car that don't nobody give a shit about.
Nope.
Nobody.
You gotta
pay for it. Sit in it. We can't ride in it. So while you sitting there paying this high ass car note on this car, there's thousands of people on Instagram worried about their own goddamn problems. Don't even care about that car. You took one picture in the motherfucker, got them little likes, but that bill gonna come every month for the next 5 years for that little 100 likes that you got when you bought that damn car.
And guess what? If you don't pay it, they coming to get it.
Oh yeah. You know how many people hide in their cars right now? You know how many people
probably a lot
can't pay their renewal?
Probably a lot.
It's sick. And a lot of credit cards are stopping. Well, a lot of companies are stopping people from paying things in full on their credit card. That's because that was another thing that I saw when I started working in insurance is how many other ethnicities pay the whole policy up front on a credit card and pay it off month to month.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of companies are just like, no, you're not taking that because they see that it's not real money.
Right.
And they're basically getting this type of leeway. And that's something that nobody told me. I had to see it for myself, And so it really made me think like, it doesn't matter if you playing in the NFL. Some of them are living check to check.
Check to check, yeah.
Because they're doing this profession, and in this profession, they assume it comes with you having to have these things. And it doesn't.
Listen, I could talk all day about professional athletes and entertainers, and those might touched on rappers earlier. One, you have to realize that it's entertainment, and the thing I always tell, particularly when I was coaching little kids, I would always tell them that professional sports is the best temp job in America, and that's what it is. It's a temp job. You have a window between 23 and on average 26, because I'll use the NFL for an example. Your average career is only 3 years. So if you were done playing football at 26, so let's just say you make it to 30, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Yeah. You haven't made enough. No matter how much money you made, it's not enough. And here's the thing. I don't care how much money we make. Most of us are going to make money, and spend the money remotely close to how much we make. So if you make 100,000, you're going to live like somebody that makes 100,000. You're not going to make 100,000 live like somebody who makes 20,000. That's just honest. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you're spending out of your means, but you're going to live a certain way. Mm-hmm. And if you make $5 million a year, guess what? You're going to live like somebody who makes $5 million a year. Well, guess what? What happens when that 5 million stops? Because it's going to stop. Unlike the three of us, we have jobs. And so we're able to work those jobs for as long as we want, or what have you, in our respective fields and so forth and so on. But you have a certain skill set, right? Mm-hmm. And you can only do that for a certain amount of time. Right. And once the job goes, the money goes. You're not going to make $5 million unless you're one of the best and you can talk about it. You're not going to make $5 million doing something else. Your next job, you're going to take a huge pay cut. You may go from 5 million to 100,000. And while that seems like a lot, it ain't nothing if you used to living like somebody who makes $5 million a year. So
that shit not gonna pay no Lamborghini car.
No, it's not.
And
it's not gonna pay for those 3 kids that you had from 3 different women either.
And you can't be your family's loan. A lot of those NFL players is your family. Oh, I need this. Oh, how are you playing that? And you got me working here at this retail job.
Right.
You working nowhere.
And so, like, even in entertainment, some of our favorite singers, rappers, what you have to realize about entertainment is that the actual singer, the actual rapper, they are the least paid person.
Exactly.
So, for as much money, and everybody can't be Beyonce, everybody can't be Jay-Z. So our favorite singers, our favorite rappers probably make less than the people who produced their album. They definitely make less than the people who put it out at the record label. So, but you're out here standing on the block talking about I rep this and I do this and I'll kill this and I'll kill that. But ain't nobody shooting at no executive from Def Jam. Ain't nobody trying to rob, the head of Sony Music. So
and even if you talk about that shit in the rap song, they won't let you put it out.
No. That, so that's low hanging fruit right there. So it's you have to figure out like what is important to you. And some of that stuff, and I saw somebody mention in the group chat a little earlier, about priorities. You have to understand that stuff is a level of entertainment for those of us who want to be entertained, but it's not really real life. And more importantly, it's not our life. So you can't live your life through somebody else's, particularly somebody else's finances either.
And my thing is like, what do you want your day-to-day to look like as you get older and your kids? I always want to be able to get up and go to the store and get what I need and not have people in my face. I don't want people to know my kids' faces because they know my face. You know what I'm saying? I want them to be able to make their own footsteps and whatever they want to make it, and then not be on, oh, my mom is this, so I got to be this. That's a lot of pressure. And a lot of people never get comfortable at any level of life that they're living because they're always worried about who's going to come get me, or what if they see me with this, or what if they see me with that, or I got to do this. And my thing is like, I don't want to live like that.
No.
I pay attention to those white men with tight sandals in the airport because they got money and they know that what I'm wearing doesn't matter. I know where I'm going home to. I know when I get on this flight, I'm going to be very comfortable sitting in first class. I know how to use the benefits of my credit card. Like, your luxury has to level up to the point where it ain't about what you see. It's about how I feel.
It's funny. You just made me think about something. I remember I was flying to New York one time. I hate to tell the story because Dolomite's here, but I was flying to New York and I happened to have a first class seat.
Yeah.
And white guy sits next to me and he says, I got my headphones on. I'm not paying him any because I don't want to talk to people on planes. And he says, he kind of leans over. He's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm fine. And he was like, so how's it going? I was like, cool. How are you? I'm good.
How'd you get here, nigga?
Yeah.
No, the next question was, so what do you do?
Oh my God.
And what was interesting was if you look like one seat ahead over to the left against the window was Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri he had all kind of ice on. I had on a hoodie, some jeans, and some sneakers. I looked like I was about to go play basketball somewhere. Jermaine Dupri said on me and he asked me, what do I do? Yeah. So, I gave him the answer. I said, I work. And he's, oh yeah, where do you work?
I'm his boss.
I just work.
I'm Jermaine's boss.
But that was my answer. I said, I just work. But I was a little offended, and I left it at that. I said, I work. And that's all he needed to know. And he didn't need to know that. But it's like, even as you some of us have tried to assimilate into certain circles, they'll remind you like, okay, why are you here? You ain't supposed to be here.
But see, the thing is like, I would have literally been like, so what do you do?
You know what? I probably should have, but I was my pride got in the way and I was offended because I paid for a ticket just like he did.
Yeah, I'm like,
well,
so
actually, they gave me a ticket. I was,
what do you do? I'm in finance. What do you do? Because that's literally like,
I'm a mom.
Yeah, like whenever, like, let's say like I'm going to buy something nice, like, you know, I'm in a jewelry store or something like that. And you know, like when I go to the jewelry store, they always trying to sell me a Rolex and shit.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at a Rolex in a jewelry store and somebody asks me some offensive shit like that, I'm always like, you know, shit, I'm in business. What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how do you afford your Rolex? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
genuinely curious. Like, motherfucker, I know what I do. I need to know what you do. You might be able to
Right.
help me do some shit.
Right.
Because a lot of times, like, I'll just tell them I'm in trucking.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know in what
Yeah,
capacity.
you could own a fleet of trucks.
Yeah, I might have 77 trucks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll just tell them, you know, I'm in trucking. What do you do, motherfucker? You
Mm-hmm.
know, you
Yeah,
might
I
be able
think
to
I was
help
a
me
little
out
too
with some
offended.
shit.
I shouldn't have been offended, but I was a little offended by the question.
Yeah, I don't take the shit personal because, you know, it's all in programming. Because
Mm-hmm.
a black dude probably would have asked you the same shit. Like, damn, nigga, how you get here?
Yeah.
You know, I know how I got here, nigga, but what you do?
And,
Right. Right.
and there's a way to ask that, but it requires you to have experience with people of couth.
Good
And,
point.
and a lot of people don't have it. And so a lot of times when people do that, I just laugh because it's just like you're so inexperienced.
Yeah, cause like me, like I've taken my kids when I take my kids trick or treating, I take them to the nice neighborhoods.
Okay.
Same.
You know,
Okay, we
I
put on
take
one street
them,
and we done.
I take them to where I know the good candy gonna be at.
Yes.
You know, so
What's
I'm
wrong
like,
with the hood
"Shit,
candy, man?
It's not even
it's
that. It's just
hood
like
candy. I don't want cup of noodles."
when I take them to those areas, it's a different experience. They got the projector in the middle of the street. Everybody knows you're not
Oh,
talking
see,
about
yeah, y'all.
it's a movie. If they got balloons so you can see where your kids are, it's like more like I want to be relaxed. I want them to be comfortable. And when you go to other neighborhoods, it's just not prepared. It's that preparation that I like.
Them white neighborhoods, them motherfuckers be having haunted houses.
Yes,
Them motherfuckers will have a big ass thing of candy and be like, "Oh, just take whatever."
yes, they leave the buckets out. Take whatever.
Yeah, like they don't give a fuck. I'm like, nigga, take as much candy as you
See,
want, just like that sign said, nigga.
see, I
But the
don't believe
thing
in
is,
Halloween, and my kids are older too now.
oh
So.
yeah, nah, nigga, we love Halloween. But the thing is, like, nigga, I trick or treat till I was like 17, nigga. Like I ain't give a fuck.
That's a
Nigga,
shame.
I
You
was
two
17 years
grown
old, nigga.
ass out there getting candy.
Oh, what?
When I saw that pregnancy stick, I said yes.
Yeah, nigga. I'm talking about like, but there's been times when I took my kids trick or treating, and they like, "Do you live around here?" And
Yeah,
I'm always
they
like,
just see in your face.
"Of course I do, motherfucker. I just don't come out much." You know, I tell them I live on the street I just came off of. Like, what was that street? That was Third. I live on Third. Oh, I've never seen you around. Oh yeah, I'm a homebody. I work from home. I never come
Yeah, I
outside
don't come
ever.
outside.
But anyway, let me get one of them king size Snickers and
Right,
two of those over there, motherfucker. We got shit to do.
right.
Yo, wow.
You
Yo,
know,
wow.
because the thing is, like, you know, and this is just one of the things about the misconceptions of black finance. Like, white people classically think that we just broke as people. Like they don't like the thought of a black person doing what they do or making what they make or being able to afford to be in the spaces that they occupy.
Yeah.
Because genuinely, when I bought my house, you know, I bought my house in a really nice neighborhood. It was a big ass house on the corner. So when
Okay.
these motherfuckers are come to bring me the little cookies and cakes and all the little shit they do, when they, you know, they say they bring you little gifts and shit, but they really being fucking nosy.
Of course, of course.
Because most of the time when they come to the fucking door, like, "Oh hey, welcome to the neighborhood. So what do you do?"
Mm.
You know, like the
I
fuck you mean
work.
what I do? I do what you do. I do the same shit you do, nigga. I earn money to pay for this motherfucker. But you know, like I've had, and luckily it was none of my neighbors. It was always like the mailman or some shit. Like, "Oh man, what do you do?" Like one of them asked me, like niggas straight asked me, "Do you rap?"
Mm.
Not the rapper.
Like,
Wow.
like nigga, do you rap? Why, nigga? You make beats or something? Like, the fuck you ask me that for?
Yeah.
You know, he's, "Oh man, it's just a really big house. You know, I ain't mean to offend you." And I said, "Nigga, that was a highly offensive question.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck made you think I rap?"
But it's also society painting this picture of if they have this, they must do these
Yeah, they must have done it.
things.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you couldn't have gotten that house without rapping
Yeah.
or playing ball or something like that.
Yeah, because you know, luckily, I ain't gonna say luckily, But the thing that got me off his helmet was the way I was dressed, nigga. Y'all know how I dress.
Mhm.
I do kind of look like a rapper. So,
right,
you know, it was like I can't really go off on this nigga.
right,
'Cause
right.
I got a fucking suit and tie on. Like, nigga, I got,
Mhm.
you know, I got some fucking baggy jeans, nigga. I got some sneakers on. I got jewelry on and shit. So it's like, I get where you coming
You had
from.
rapper starter kit on.
Yeah, like, but come on, my nigga. Like, I work, homie. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but like that's like a thing, like us as black people. And you know, even again, like I said, some of these questions will be asked by other black people.
Yeah.
Because I've had other black people ask me, like, this is your car? This
Mm-hmm.
is your house? Like I done had the nigga from Amazon. And nigga came to order, you know, ring doorbell and shit. So the nigga come to my door and I opened the motherfucker before he could bring the package. Like, give me my shit, my nigga.
Right.
So he like, damn. I'm like, what? He was like, I didn't expect a black man to answer the door.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, why not? He like, well, you know, I've been delivering to this neighborhood and ain't no black people live here. So, nigga, the fact that you opened the door. And I'm like, yeah, nigga, I bought the house. And he like, that's crazy, homie.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. You know, it was like that nigga was like seeing a slave get free. Like, oh,
right.
man.
One of us made it.
That's what it be like to this day. Like, damn. So you. Why is it a secret? Why are we whispering?
Yeah, like nigga, yes, nigga, we here now, you know, because like I said, you know, I did an episode. I was like, nigga, I can't wait to raise my checker flag in front of the house, nigga. They gonna be mad at the motherfucker. Cause they're gonna be like, that's supposed to be an American flag. Nah, bitch, the marathon
Marathon.
continues in this
Okay.
motherfucker, nigga.
Yeah.
You know, we repping because you know, we here, black people in this good, nice ass neighborhood. Yes, y'all got some niggas here now. Because some motherfuckers, like, you know, when them motherfuckers saw me out cutting the grass and getting the
They thought
property
you was the help.
cleaned up, yeah, they was like, oh my God, who bought the house? Me, nigga, what the fuck you mean? Who bought it? I bought the motherfucker. You don't see me out here every day doing this shit? Like, oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Yes, you thoroughly offended me, my nigga. I ain't even gonna bullshit you. Cause who the fuck else you think bought the house? Like, and you know, the bitch cleaned it up. It was nice. It was smooth how she did it. 'Cause she was like, you just so young.
Oh, no, I got that one too. I got that
I'm
one.
like,
You're like, you're just so black.
yeah, like, how old do I look, bitch? You know, because I'm like, shit, I'm, you know, what was I, 30, 35, 36 when I bought the fucking house? Like, this about house buying age, lady. Like, what
Yeah,
do you mean?
yeah.
She was like, oh, I thought you were like 20 something. I'm like, oh, thank you. You
I
lying
have
like
my next door neighbor. His dad did that to me when we bought the house. He was but I was like, I was 29, I think we bought a house. So yeah, so he came over and he was like, he said, hey, this is a nice house. He was like, is this your parents' house? I was like, parent? That's like, oh no, this is my house. It's oh man, that's good, young brother. I'm proud of you. I was like, your son and daughter-in-law ain't much younger than me. So I mean, much older than me. So we're all about the same age. But that's the only time I got questioned about something like that. That's funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, you know, like as black people that have their shit together and got the right mindset, like it's gonna be a lot of people that's just gonna look at you different, you know. And it is, I'm not gonna say it's nothing wrong with it because it is, but like just as a young black person that got your shit together, like don't be ashamed of it.
No,
Like don't try to pretend that it's something that it ain't. Like nigga, yeah, nigga, you know, be proud of that shit. Like yes, I'm a generational curse breaker. That's why I live in your neighborhood now.
And also learn how to politely check people so it makes them kill that assumption. So like I check people all the time
of course
on the Ring camera, like on the app. So they'll be in conversation. Yeah, you know, it's just loud on the street. Do you know what's going on? And you know, it must be the renters. I'm like, I've been renting. My lawn gets cut on the street first. I take care of the house. You would never think I was renting. You probably thought I owned this house. It's not. You can't assume just because somebody's renting, they're not taking care of your shit.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people who are older from another generation, they just assume younger people from a different generation won't take care of a neighborhood or will treat it a certain way. And I have to check them all the time because I'm pro if somebody gives you something to use, you make it better than when they gave it to you.
Yeah.
Fact. So the owner can drive down the street at any time and he'll never see his house looking any type of way. The grass not cut, and I'm just like, You can look at people that own shit and don't take care of their shit.
Facts.
And even with that, it's very important that I take my kids to different neighborhoods to show them this, and this is an option if you don't do this.
Mhm.
This is an option if you do this. This is why this store is here. This is why this store is 40 minutes away, and it's demographics and it's things they're going to have to live with. And if you don't teach your kids that, they're going to assume they just grow up and they have what they see.
Yeah.
And you don't grow up and have what you see. My kids have never lived in an apartment. They have always lived in a house. It has always been clean. They never had to deal with seeing certain things, hearing certain things. And it's not because I think they're better than that. I just feel like I've experienced that, but they don't have to experience that.
Yeah. And that's a part of the growth. You know, we want to put our kids and the generation that comes behind us in a better situation than we were in. And I know me and Dolomite and Baylor talked about it on the fatherhood episode. The one thing I will say is something I tell my kids all the time, like, nothing's ever going to be easy, but it's not supposed to be easy.
Right.
And outside of this house, nobody's going to give you anything. Be thankful when they do, but don't expect anything. Just expect that you have to do whatever it is that you're supposed to do to get what you want. And it's not going to come easy. You know, I have our oldest son he's in grad school, and I tell him that, it seems like I'm telling him that like every other week, and he's working hard, and he's got an idea as to what he wants to do because he'll finish next year. And I'm like, okay, take that and run with it, but understand that you worked hard to get here, and your rewards will pay off, but you might not see the reward day one after you cross the stage. I was like, it doesn't happen like that. And there's going to be some struggles. And I recently had a conversation with them, and we were talking, and this is a whole nother subject, but they look at us, given the fact that my wife and I have been married 23 years, almost 24 years. And I told them, I'm like, look, you're looking at the finished product. Like, y'all ain't see us struggle. Like, we were struggling. I mean, really struggling at one point before y'all came. But I mean, we met in college. So we struggled as young adults into our adulthood, and we grew from there. I was like, so you can't look at mom and dad and say, okay, well, y'all have the perfect relationship or whatever like that. You didn't see the struggle. And there will be struggle, but there's a way to handle the struggle, and there's going to be financial struggle. Now, the thing is, for us as parents, we want to make sure that our kids don't struggle. But if and when you do, we're going to be there to help you. But now, I'm not supporting you if you just gonna act a fool. I tell my kids all the time, like, no, I ain't Jay-Z now. I ain't got that kind of money. But no, if you fall in hard times, you always got a place here. But now, after going to college for 4 years, you probably don't want to come live with mom and dad. But the reality is you might have to. And that's okay. But I know them, and hopefully, that'll be something that pushes them. But the thing I want to, impress upon everybody listening is that whatever it is that you want to do as you make your plans financially, it's not going to be easy, but it's not supposed to be easy.
Right.
And if you ask people, particularly if you ask the right people, if you ask the three of us, we'll help in any way we can. And the thing I always tell people is that if I can't help you, I'll point you in the direction of somebody who can.
Right.
Yeah. And shit, like, to the point that you was making about your kids, like I always tell mine, they don't never show practice on ESPN, but they'll never show you on ESPN if you don't practice.
Facts.
Like,
I got to use that one.
I
got to use that one.
You see the highlights. You only see me spending the money. But like the cool thing about like me having my kids with me all the time is like I can explain to them, like, y'all see how busy I am? That's why we can have this nice shit. Like, if y'all see me running over here, working these 12-hour days, always being gone, always being into something. This is what pays for all this shit. Like, nigga, we don't just wake up and then checks come to the house. Like, nigga, all of this hard work is what makes us be able to afford all this nice shit. Like, the reason daddy can take care of everything is because daddy works hard as hell. Like, this is all a part of the process of having nice shit. Like, because the point that Shan made about our kids never living in an apartment. This is proof that kids watch, pay attention, and understand a whole lot more than we give them credit for. Because when we bought the house, that was 5 years ago. Brownie is 11. So she had to be 5 or 6 when we bought that damn house. The first thing Brownie said when we like moved all our shit into the house and like was sleeping in the house was like, "Don't never tell nobody we used to live in an apartment. We've always had a house."
I love it.
Like
I love it.
Brownie was like, "Nigga, we live in a house, nigga. We
Right.
we are not the less fortunate. Like nigga, when we go visit them niggas at the apartment, we can tell them, oh, we got a yard, we got a
Right.
backyard. Oh
We got
man, I
we
got my
got
own
space.
room. Yeah, we got stairs in the house and shit, nigga. Our rooms is upstairs. I got my own window and shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, hopefully one day y'all step y'all game up and be like us
Mhm.
and get a house."
They will.
But like, yeah, you know, but that's kids, and you know, like they notice all that shit. And like I said, that's what I want to impart into them is the example. Like, all this shit takes work. And like one of the things, like to wrap it up, because you know, we going long as hell on the episode, is you know, as Black people, like, you know, because I wanted to kind of close it on like the solutions that we have to offer to these problems of finance in the Black community. Like, just gather as much information as you can, like on your journey of learning. Like, nigga, sometimes you might want to turn your favorite song off and listen to something that's informative. You know, whether it be like what's them two niggas that podcast? I don't really be
Earn
promoting
your
their
leisure.
podcast. Yeah, like, you know, like check out
Mhm.
Earn Your Leisure if you don't want to. What I say, you know, niggas don't like reading. If you don't like to
Mhm.
read, nigga, there's so much information on YouTube that you don't got to read at all.
Mhm.
Like, there's so many fucking documentaries out there on YouTube. There's so much information on YouTube. Like, even when it comes to books you don't want to read, nigga, they got audio books on YouTube.
Facts.
Yeah.
They have like shortened versions, like the little synopsis, quick 10-minute version of
Mhm.
whole books. Like I be telling niggas, like, you can lie and say you read 48 Laws of Power if you go on YouTube and get the little 12-minute version of they read the book and all they doing is giving you the quick
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
meat and potatoes of the shit. There's whole financial books, Think and Grow Rich. There's a nigga on YouTube that read the book that's just gonna give you the quick little, this is what
Mhm.
the book is about. So if you don't want to take the long route and read the whole book, there's so much information that you could just find at YouTube University
Right.
where you can learn all types of shit. Like, even like I say, a practice that I've had since I was a teenager. Whenever I see somebody driving a car that I like, I'll ask them what they do for a living.
Mhm.
You know, is there some way that I could get into that? Like, you know, like, what is it that you do? Is it easy? Is it difficult? Is it something that anybody can do? Or is it something that you specially do?
Mhm.
Because, nigga, if you tell me, oh, nigga, I'm in the NBA, I don't
And
see
you ain't
myself
got
doing
that.
that. But
Right.
if a nigga tell me, like, oh, yeah, man, you know, I started this little drop shipping company. All you got to do is go to this website, do this, do that, do that. The little training gonna be on here, do the training, and they'll give you a kit. Oh, damn, that's all I got to do. You
Mhm.
know, and you might be plugged in. You know, you might meet your next mentor like that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because I've had dudes like that. Like, my golf instructor was like that. Like, nigga, I just meet this motherfucker randomly, and he like, hey, man, meet me at the golf course. I'm gonna
Hmm.
teach you how to play golf, and I'm gonna help you with a couple other things. You know, just meet me at the golf course Sunday morning, and we gonna chop it up. So, you know, as Black people, like, we just need to do a better job at gathering information.
And using the information that you gather, I think a lot of people like to talk about what they know, but they don't use what they know. And even all the different talks that we have with our kids, that's a part of financially being smarter, is building that mindset with them now. So when they get approached by certain things, they know what to do, they know what to avoid, they know what they don't need. And you know, we all had things that our parents didn't do or did do, things that we can unlearn, things that we can learn from. And really, is it boils down to discipline for me. To wrap this up, if you don't need it, don't buy it. Yes,
Mm.
there's Klarna, but Klarna ain't got your back on shit. They know you can afford it. If you got it, buy it in 4 payments, you don't need it. And
Mm.
so this mindset that we have to have shit, it don't matter. This mindset that it has to be the real thing every time I have to get it from this brand. It don't mean shit. I love fashion, but I constantly compare. This is the same vendor. This shit right here just says Prada. This shit right here just says Paris. You know what I'm saying? If you like it, you like it. And honestly, nobody as you get older is checking for that shit. Just
Yeah.
make sure your parents are comfortable, you're comfortable. Make sure you taking care of your body, because it don't make no sense you putting all this money and investment into something you're not gonna be around. Don't just focus on a will. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you set something more up where the money comes to your people first before the government go into it. And it's all of this information that is Googleable. Okay.
Facts. Big facts. I'll close out with thing I always say is, figure out what it is that you want. Figure out where it is that you want to go, and do that for a year. And say, okay, if today is July 1st, I want to do this, and that by July 1st, 2025. Mm-hmm. Make just a list of things that you want and things that you want to do. I think it's very easy to write stuff down. But when you do that, you set yourself a plan. It's easier to work that plan once you have a plan written down. Most of us never make a plan. Right. And so if we're never making a plan, we're always moving around looking for the next thing, or we're going whichever the way the wind blows. And the wind can blow you in some bad situations. It can make you make some wrong decisions. It can make you purchase a polo jacket that you only wear 3 times after you spill bleach on it. So learn from me.
Yeah, okay, so in closing, since we already said our parting shots, Shan, go ahead and tell them where they can find you, how they can find you, what they can find you on, and all that good shit.
You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, IG, shanbypodding.com. All the pods are on there. All the shops are on there. All the books are on there. When you see me, you can hop into my DMs for information, for knowledge. Don't hop into my DMs for anything else, because the answer is going to be no.
Hell no.
All right. But yeah.
12 Kyle.
The 12 Kyle podcast drops every Thursday and every Sunday. Wherever you get your podcast is where you can find a podcast and talk about a little bit of everything. And if you like what you've heard, the thing I always say about the podcast is, if you my podcast is kind of like potato chips. If you eat one, you're gonna eat another. So if you like me, you'll like one episode. If you listen to one episode, you'll listen to the next one. So check me out.
Gotcha.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get my music cracking. This has been your host, Uncle Dolomite, with my special, very, very special guest. Hopefully we can do this shit again soon.
Oh, for sure.
Because I ain't gonna front. There was some shit that came to my head that I was like, damn, we ain't talk about that. We're gonna have to get this shit out. But yeah, my special guest, Shan from A Million Podcasts. My homeboy 12 Kyle from the 12 Kyle podcast. The billionaire and the hardest worker in podcasting. Both in the motherfucking building. Hopefully next time we can get my boy Mr. Brown Life Agent on, so we can have the whole financial super friends up in this motherfucker. If you would like to support financially, you can cash at me at Uncle Dolomite directly, or get you some merchandise at toomuchgamepodcast.store. Get you some merchandise at shanbypodding.com. 12 Kyle, where you get your merch at?
Just go to 12 Kyle podcast and you'll find it.
Go to 12 Kyle podcast and you'll find his shit.
There's a merch link in every podcast.
Yeah, nigga. Shout out to Townhouse Media Sports for You podcast. Shout out to them, sports number 4 letter U. Live Tuesdays and Fridays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. They dope. Follow me on social media at Uncle Dolomite everywhere. TikTok, yo mama boyfriend, even though I don't be on TikTok no more. Follow me anyway, nigga. If y'all follow me, I might fuck around and start putting shit on there again. Subscribe to my YouTube, Too Much Game Podcast, or Uncle Dolomite. I got 2 YouTube pages and shit, comedy and all that. But all my comedy shit is on my Instagram at Uncle Dolomite. So if y'all niggas ever want to see me on stage, I post all my shows coming up on my Instagram page. But that's it, man. I ain't here to help you get bitches. I'm here to help you get better. Too much game.